Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness!
Hello, everyone. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Nathan.
Welcome to episode 131 of Adventures and Mousecapades. This week, we're going to talk about how to reassure your adult child that they do, in fact, have the everyday smarts to navigate their way to the airport parking and to get on a plane by themselves.
Yes, Caitlin is visiting her friend down in LA for the weekend. And there was some reassuring needed that you do indeed got this. Fun times. Well, what we're actually talking about this week is a comparison. We are going to pit the different classes of Disney Cruise Line ship that exist today against each other and see which one comes out on top. And
based on our opinions.
That's true, based on our opinions, and hopefully give you a little bit of a sense of what some of the differences are between those classes. So let's kind of dive in. We have three classes. Again, we're going to ignore the Disney Adventure. That is what used to be called the Global Dream, and Disney bought the shell and is refurbing it. It's going to sail out of Singapore. There's lots of interesting stuff. It is completely unique from a design perspective. We're not going to include that. So we're going to look at the Magic Class, which includes the Magic and the Wonder, the Dream Class, which is the Dream and the Fantasy, and the Triton-Class, although some are now calling it the Wish Class. This is the Wish, the Treasure, and the Destiny. Looking at the ships, again, the Magic Class came out first. The Magic launched and had its inaugural cruise in 1998. The Wonder came right behind it in 99. The Dream came 12 or 13 years later, and it had its inaugural cruise in 2011. Fantasy right behind in 2012. And then with the Triton-Class, the Wish had its maiden voyage in 2022. The Treasure comes out later this year, 2024. And then we have the Destiny coming out in 2025? Question mark?
That hasn't been announced yet, so
it hasn't
possibly,
specifically.
hopefully, yeah.
Yep.
Stateroom-wise, the Magic Class is the smallest at 875 staterooms. The Dream Class has 1,250, and the Triton Class, so many more, 1,254.
Whoa, quite the jump.
Yes. As for guests, maximum for the Magic Class is 2,700, and the Dream and the Triton share maximum at 4,000. For crew on each of these class of ships, on the Magic Class there are 945 crew members, the Dream Class has 1,458, and the Triton Class has 1,555. So you really, really get that one-on-one stuff with the Triton Class, just way up and above beyond the Dream Class for sure.
I wouldn't call it one-on-one, but sure.
No, that's true.
For passenger decks and other size stats, the Magic and the Wonder have 11 passenger decks and weigh in at 84,000 gross tons. The Dream Class ships have 14 passenger decks and are 130,000 gross tons. And then the Triton Class comes in with 15 decks, 144,000 gross tons. Now, interestingly enough, the Dream Class is 1,115 feet long. The Triton Class is just 4 feet longer at 1,119. In terms of width, the Dream Class is 121 feet, and the Triton Class adds 7 to that for 128 feet. So you can see that the new ships, the Triton Class ships, they're just more chunky. They're not necessarily a lot bigger in terms of, length and width than the Dream and the Fantasy, but they do have one extra deck, and they just have more bulk to them.
Chunky ships.
They're chonky boys, indeed. Now, going back down to the original, the OG ships, the Magic and the Wonder are just 84,000 gross tons. They're 984 feet long and 106 feet wide. And those numbers are interesting because those are the original size max for the Panama Canal.
Does that include the ducktail?
No, it does not include the ducktail. That's a good point. So previously, the Magic and Wonder were both 950 or so feet or something along those lines. I forget the exact number. They had a refurb that added a little bit of a butt on the end, and also commonly known as the ducktail to give it a little bit more buoyancy. And that did add some size. It means that those ships can no longer fit through the original Panama Canal locks, but they can fit through the new ones.
All the ships can fit through the new locks.
All the ships can fit through the new locks. However, the Dream, Fantasy, Wish, Treasure, Destiny, and whatever else, the Adventure, although I don't think the Adventure would ever come over here, those are all way too tall to fit under the bridges that cross the Panama Canal. So the Magic and the Wonder are the only ships that Disney can take through the Panama Canal at this point.
Fuel-wise, the Magic Class and the Dream Class are both diesel, and the Triton-Class has upgraded to whatever century this is. And the Triton-Class has upgraded to the future, and they are LNG, liquid natural gas.
Indeed.
Much better for the environment.
It is much better for the environment, but it does mean that they have some limitations, at least for now, on where they can fuel up. And so where those home ports are need to be LNG capable. That's something that's definitely getting broader acceptance and broader usage across the industry, but it's not quite there yet. So think of this as, where are you going to plug in your electric car? Those superchargers aren't everywhere, and that can kind of determine on where you're going to take a long road trip. So same thing with these cruise ships. If the LNG isn't going to be available, then more often than not, your Wish, Treasure, and Destiny, and probably whatever else is going to come in the future, are not going to be home ported at your port.
We have a fair amount of Disney cruise experience. We have gone on a total of 16 Disney cruises.
Although I've only been on 14.
Oh, you're okay. We have been on the Magic Class the most, a total of 64 nights and 10 cruises. 9 of those have been on the Disney Wonder, and we have done 57 nights on that glorious ship. The Dream Class, we have had 4 cruises on at a total of 25 nights. And the Triton Class, we have done 2 cruises, 7 nights total.
Indeed. We have 2 cruises planned right now in the future on Disney Cruise Line. One is going to be on the Magic for 6 nights, and one is going to be on the Treasure. Coming up after it launches later this year, we'll be on in February for a week-long cruise.
I am very excited for both of these. The Treasure, I am just ecstatic that we get to go on. And the Magic was our very, very first Disney cruise. And that was way back in 2009 was the last time we've been on that ship. So it has changed just a bit.
Just a little bit. The last time we were on that ship, the third rotational restaurant was still Parrot Key. So if you're wondering what is Parrot Key, well, it was a Caribbean-themed restaurant. It actually had a buffet in the morning for breakfast. It was fantastic. You could do a sit-down breakfast.
I liked it.
With buffet. I miss that breakfast. Absolutely. But anywho, let's move on. So we are going to rank these classes of Disney Cruise Line ships. We have several categories that we'll go through, and we're going to rank these on a 3-point scale. 3 is high, 1 is low. We must stack rank in each category. So each class will get a number, will get a score from us, and the highest point total wins. So let's see if what we think about these classes of ships actually turn out to equal what we think our individual stack ranking of these ships are, because I have a funny feeling we're wrong, or we're going to argue with ourselves.
We're going to be different. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. But we're going to come up with,
oh my gosh.
but we're going to come up with a combined score. So we need to agree like which class is going to be ranked first, second, and third. And
Oh,
go
wait a
through
minute.
and
We're
do
not
the
doing
math.
individual?
No, we're not doing individual ships.
Come on. Okay.
No. My spreadsheet is not set up for individual ships, so we're sticking with the
Copy
class.
paste, yo. Copy paste.
All right, so first category is main entrance and lobby. So as you come onto the ship, welcome Novak family. What's your experience? We have the Magic class, the Dream class, and the Triton class. What do you think of these main lobbies?
I actually like the Dream class the best for this because you have the staircase is a little more grand and just the whole feel of it. I like, well, they all have those beautiful chandeliers, but I just think it really evokes the old nautical feel on that.
Yeah.
And I just really like that for the entrance area. The Triton class is gorgeous, but for main entrance, I like just a little extra there.
I agree. So if that's going to be our first ranking, where would you put the Magic class? Is that below Triton or?
I'm going to say yes. Because with the Dream and the Magic class, you still have the characters like right out there greeting you, and they will still do a little show like every 10 or 15 minutes right there. And they don't quite have that set up on the Triton class. You do have a prince and princess up at the very top, like waving to you and stuff, but there's no entrance show. Now, Disney changes this quite a bit. So the way it stands now, that's where I have it.
Fair enough.
Do you agree with me or do you not agree with me?
I do agree with you. I always agree with you. You are always right.
But it's not true.
It's a trap!
All right, next up is room decor and furnishings. So these are very different across all of the ships, but let's kind of think through this. I already know who's on the bottom, and they're the newest and probably the less dinged up and everything at this age, but the Triton class, the Wish, they're beautiful rooms, but the storage situation is not
But
good.
that's not what you're listing. You're listing the decor and the furnishings, not the storage situation.
I'm sorry, the furnishings include storage. To me, I'm thinking my in the room experience. Oh, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I'm putting the Triton class ships at the bottom. I honestly would put the originals at the top, and that's just me.
Okay.
Because I think they probably went the most overboard in terms of adding all sorts of drawers and everything else into those spaces. It was such a departure from anything else that the cruise industry had. I think a lot of other cruise ships are starting to catch up there, but it was groundbreaking. And I still think you get the most nooks and crannies and everything else in those rooms that are on the original Magic and the Wonder. Now they're starting to show their age, but I think I like those layouts the best. And that would leave the Dream and the Fantasy in the middle. The only detractor I have for the Magic class ships, and probably for the Dream as well, and Fantasy, are that the TVs are so small. But other than that, you get a nice big TV in the newer ships, but
you can't move them.
You can't move them. So, yeah,
Okay.
that's my ranking.
Personally, I would not have storage in the same category because I think decor is very different from that. But I agree with the assessment that you have said.
Okay, fair enough. Pool deck, slides, and splash areas.
I think Triton class is first for this
Why is that?
because of the multiple tiers and just the sheer number of pools that they have.
Yeah.
Just because of the way it's laid out, where if you do have a 2319, like a sock on a monster, they can just close that one instead of closing all of the pool areas.
Yeah, exactly.
Kids can
you
still
don't-
play.
Yep. You only have a couple pools on the Dream and the Fantasy, a couple main pools. You only have Goofy's pool as kind of the main pool on the Magic and the Wonder. I mean, there's a splash area and stuff, but that's it. Now, there is the Quiet Cove pool that exists. There is an adult space pool. And I honestly think that's where the Triton-Class, the Wish, and Treasure and Destiny fall down, because I think the Quiet Cove pool is far superior on the the older ships than it is on these new ones. But I think all up, having 6 main pools, plus you've got one up top with the Chippendale's pool. Chippendale or Fools. There's so much more. I love the tiered pool decks. It's fantastic.
With regards to the slides and the water entertainment, I do think that Triton has this too. We've got the Aqua Mouse on the Triton-Class. We have on the Fantasy, they have something called the Aqua Lab, which is only on the Fantasy, which is a nice, huge splash area. But there's also the Mickey slide, the Aqua Duck, and the Aqua Duck is fun. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
But on the Wonder and the Magic, there's not really much there.
You do have the Aqua Dunk that's on the Magic
on
only.
Magic only.
And that is probably not necessarily a little kid's slide that they would be interested in. It is a drop slide.
Yeah.
One of those things where you stand in the right place and the floor drops out from under you. That's a thing. So yeah, I think the Triton-Class really nailed it when it comes to the top deck there and all those onboard activities that involve water.
Yeah.
All right, Kids Club. I think this just goes straight up the fleet in terms of age. The newer ones are just hands down. They're bigger spaces. They have way more going on. Like,
Technology.
I'm sort of jealous. Yeah. Would you say the same for the Edge and the Vibe? Kind of that older kids, teens.
Okay. So for the Edge and Vibe, I think the Dream Class may have it for Vibe, just because, although I don't agree with what they did here, because they took the front area, which used to be the crew pool, and turned it into the teen pool. I kind of think it sucks that they did that. I don't know if they have another crew pool somewhere else or not, but that space is really cool for the teens. I don't know how much they use it though.
Yeah, I mean, we've toured these spaces. I'm going to agree with you. I think the Edge and the Vibe on the Triton-Class are just absolutely fantastic. And they have all sorts of, probably a little bit more room and stuff like that. But I think taking that front of the ship, that's basically, if you look at on the Wish, where you have that whole outdoor rainforest room area, that same kind of thing exists on the Dream and the Fantasy, and it's part of the Vibe Kids Club. From a teen space, that's incredible.
Yes.
I think from our perspective, we're going to rank that one up at the top and put the newest ships right down below it. I mean, we're drawing hairs here. This is stack ranking. You have to put an order in, and we're not going to do ties. So it is what it is. All right, next up, let's look at main dining and what we're going to kind of class here as main dining restaurant number 1. So this is kind of the elevated experience, not a show restaurant. This would be kind of your French menu, if you will, or your more traditional steakhouse kind of food. On the Magic and Wonder, we have Lumiere's and Triton's respectively. On the Dream and Fantasy, we have Royal Palace and Royal Court. And then on the new ships, it's 1923. Alicia.
This is where we may differ a bit here.
All right.
Possibly. 1923 is my number 1. Lumiere's and Triton's is my number 2. And Royal Palace and Royal Court is my number 3.
I definitely agree that the Dream Class, the Royal Palace and Court are number 3. I think those could be judged for sure. This is rough. I love the classical decor and experience and ambiance. Like Triton's is my favorite restaurant, I think. Again, we're drawing hairs here. but I don't get the same level of nostalgia and Disney and just like involved in Disney from a decor perspective in Tritons or Lumieres that you get out of 1923. Like 1923 is a quintessential Disney restaurant. Like it is full of history of the studios, and it's incredible. So I will give this one to you. I am not disturbed about having Triton-Class ships in 1923 at the top of this list, and we're going to slot the Magic-Class ships just behind them.
I also think, however, the food is more elevated at 1923. The quality of it. Okay, I'm thinking of this, just the steak.
Okay, that steak is pretty good. That's
also
fair.
So yeah, the steak for one thing, but maybe it's just because they haven't changed the menus at Lumiere and Triton's, because 1923 has a fresh take on a menu. They have newer, well, obviously it's newer items, it's a newer ship, but I think just the experimentation, I don't know if that's quite the right word.
They've evolved it. Like they've taken the same thing and they've evolved it and brought it forward by 25 years.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you still have the escargot, you still have a steak and things like that. But the Chateaubriand, that's not in 1923 though. That's only going to be on the Triton's menu, the Lumiere's menu, and it's at the Royal Palace and Royal Court. So I see your steak, but I would counter with that Chateaubriand, and
it's good, but I don't think it's as good as the steak that we had at 1923.
Well, we can agree to disagree. I will still give you the points, though. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. All right, main dining number 2. This is Animator's Palette versus Animator's Palette versus Worlds of Marvel. Okay, so Worlds of Marvel's last.
Yep.
You just no questions.
All right, you lead with this one.
I think we're going to give this one to the Dream Class just because the technology is updated. It took that same concept that they had and just extended it a bit. You've got the Turtle Talk with Crush stuff that I think they've retrofitted. I can't remember if they have or not. It's just what 13 years of technological advancement can give you of doing the same thing over. It's just better on the Dream and the Fantasy than it is on the Magic and the Wonder.
Downside, I don't think they have the Sorcerer Mickey show.
No, they don't.
The Dream and Fantasy.
And that tugs at nostalgia, but you just,
I know.
Yeah. But
that's fantastic.
Yeah. I know. All right, main dining number 3. This is the show theater, whatever you want to call it.
Dinner show.
That's it. So on the Magic, we have Rapunzel's Royal Table, and on the Wonder, it's Tiana's Place. On the Dream and the Fantasy, it is Enchanted Garden. And then on the new ships, on the Wish, we have Arendelle, a frozen dining adventure. And the Treasure will have Plaza de Coco.
Gee, which one's going to be bottom?
Oh, it's going to be Enchanted Garden. I'm sorry. That decor is pretty meh. And quite frankly, neither of us are big fans of that menu either.
That's not a dinner show, is it?
It is not.
There's no well, I guess it's Animator's Palette is the dinner show.
Right. For the Dream Class ships. But no, there's not the pop.
So question, do we need to swap those?
No, because I think those are like you have Animator's Palette versus Animator's Palette.
Okay. And Worlds of Marvel is also a dinner show. So, okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, Enchanted Garden, bottom of the heap, for sure.
This needs to be replaced.
Yeah.
Hopefully at one of a dry dock that comes up, they will be replacing this restaurant with something. It needs to be turned into a character event.
Well, I mean, it's based off of Mary Poppins, isn't it? Something.
Maybe. I don't remember.
The gardens are, I can't remember exactly what the feel is supposed to be. If it's Alice in Wonderland or Mary Poppins or something entirely different.
The fact that we don't know is a statement right there.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, we have to say, we haven't been to Rapunzel's royal table.
Yeah.
The last time we were on the Magic, it was Parrot Key, and that was 15 years ago. Yep. So Tiana's place is amazing.
Yeah.
The treasure's not out, so we don't know what Plaza de Coco is, but I mean, we can imagine that show, that music's going to be fun. You're going to have Mexican food. Pretty cool. Arendelle is a fun show. I don't think that the menu is for everybody. Now, we loved it, but I think, the Scandinavian food can be a little bit difficult to palate for some palates. Yeah, we'll go with that. And so I'm going to go with Rapunzel's and Tiana's on the Magic Class as the top stack here.
I agree, because there's enough variation, I think, with the music there. Mm-hmm. With Arendelle, it's always going to be the same show.
Yeah.
I guess you may be able to argue that for Tiana's as well, but I think there's enough of a Disney music library that they can actually change that.
Right. I mean, they have their songs that they hit as part of kind of a show element, but then they're just up there being the house band playing whatever they want to play during your meal. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I will sign up for live music any day of the week.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, next up, adult dining. So the Magic and the Wonder have Palo. This is the OG Palo. The Dream and the Fantasy have both Palo and Remy, which is a fine French dining experience. Absolutely fantastic. And then we have on the Triton-Class, Palo Steakhouse, slightly different tweak there, and Enchanté, which is a elevated French bubbly, like it is a thing. It is a definite vibe. Now, I think the easy one here is, as groundbreaking as it was, as much as we love Palo, we have to put the Magic and the Wonder at the bottom of the stack rank as a class, because there's just that one restaurant. Now, it's not saying that Palo on the Magic and the Wonder is bad. It's phenomenal. You should absolutely go and have a dining experience of some sort at Palo on the Magic or the Wonder. But when we're looking at the classes of ships, just having one restaurant on those smaller ships is a downside. Okay, let's look at Palo. Do you like the more traditional Palo versus Palo Steakhouse? Which one comes out on the top for you on that one? And then we can look at Remy versus Enchanté.
Palo Steakhouse.
Yeah? Why do you say that?
They updated the menu a bit. And this is weird, but I really like the layout there too. I like the just the little touches that they added and changed to Palo on the Triton-Class.
I think the layout of the room is a lot better. I think you have much better views because you're right there kind of on the side of the ship where and you can actually see out. Okay. Fair enough. Remy versus Enchanté.
We haven't done Enchanté. We are not interested in the menu that we have seen.
Right.
There's too many things on there that just do not appeal to us.
Yeah.
At least with Remy, the majority of the items, with a few things here and there, were just not, But Enchanté, there was way too many that we just, we won't end up eating that or enjoying it.
And it's not that we're avoiding, well, I guess we are technically avoiding foods that we may not be super familiar with, but I would say, I love the way you phrase that, in that there's enough of a home base of fine dining food that we understand at Remy that we are willing and very able to sit down at Remy and let the meal happen, and whatever is being served to us, we're going to eat, and it's going to be fantastic. For us, I think Enchanté is a little bit more of a leap of faith that some of these things that really sound like stuff that we're not going to be interested in would turn out to be good. And we're just not interested in putting our money on the line for that. At least
we'll do it
right
at some
now.
point.
We'll do it at some point. Absolutely.
I'm sure we'll do it at some point.
For content. Okay, so for adult dining, we're going to put the Dream Class up at the top, and we're going to put Triton in the middle, and unfortunately, Magic and Wonder are down there at the bottom, but still really high. Please don't hear what we're not saying. We're not saying that's bad. All right, onto the buffet. We have Cabanas versus Cabanas versus Marceline Market.
That's a thing now, I guess.
Well, it's, cabanas.
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 It's cabanas.
Yeah. No, but it's elevated. It's fancy. It's cabanas.
No, it's not.
All right, I'm going to put Marceline Market at the top of this because it's just bigger. I love all the theming. It's just an elevated experience. They have a lot more options. It seems like, yeah.
I don't know that they do have a.
It seems like it feels like
okay.
Because it feels less like a big long cafeteria line, and it feels like the stations are themed.
Yeah, a little more. The entire layout of Marceline Market is very nice. There's a lot more compartmentalized areas, so it just seems a lot more intimate, even though it is supremely packed every single time we have gone in there.
Yes.
Cabanas is like that too, but Marceline just has a nicer feel to it. It kind of reminded me of like a farmer's market feel.
Yeah. All right, so if we're going to compare cabanas on the Magic Wonder versus Dream and Fantasy, who you got?
Magic Wonder. Nice.
Yeah, just because it's not as big?
Yeah.
Fair enough. On deck food. So this is a laundry list here, but lots of different stuff. So we have on the Magic and Wonder, Pinocchio's Pizzeria. Then you have the Duck Inn Diner or Pete's Boiler Bites between the Magic and the Wonder. You have Frozone Treats on the Magic and Sully's Sips on the Wonder. Daisy's Delights and Ice Cream Treats are on both of those ships. All right, so that's what you've got on the Magic and Wonder. On the Dream and the Fantasy, we have Flo's Cafe, which has 3 stations. You have Luigi's Pizza, Tomater's Grill, and Fillmore's Favorites. Then you've got a frozen treat section, either ice cream on the Disney or Frozone on the Fantasy. I said Disney, I meant Dream. And then you have a sweet shop on the Fantasy and the Dream. On the Dream, it's Vanellope's, and on the Fantasy, it's Sweet on You.
So I can give Nathan's voice a bit of a break here. On the Triton-Class, you have the Mickey and Friends Festival of Foods, which includes Mickey's Smokestack Barbecue, Goofy's Grill, Donald's Cantina, Daisy's Pizza Pies, Sweet Minnie's Ice Cream. And then you also have the Inside Out Joyful Sweets on the Wish, and Jumbo's Sweets going to be on the Treasure, the nice gelato and dessert shop.
All right, I think this goes in order of age, and I think the newest ones are the better. Like, having the barbecue place,
the cantina,
Mexican food. I mean, you can get the chicken tenders on all of these. Like, there's a grill on all of them. There's just, as you get on a bigger ship, a newer ship, there's just more options available. And yeah, as much as it pains me to once again stack the Magic and the Wonder down at the bottom, unfortunately, that is what it is. That's where they're landing.
Yeah. Next, we have theater spaces. The Magic Class, that is the Disney Wonder and the Disney Magic, have the Walt Disney Theater, which is where the shows are. This is 1 level. And there's also the Buena Vista Theater, which is the movie theater where they will show the movies. That is also 1 level. On the Dream and Fantasy, the Walt Disney Theater is 2 stories. It has a balcony, I should say. And the Buena Vista Theater, same. That has a balcony as well, doesn't it?
I can't remember.
Or it's bigger.
It's definitely
It has
bigger.
an entrance on 2 levels, that's what it is.
Yes. It's one big stadium seating, but there's an entrance to it on both levels.
On different
2
decks,
levels,
for sure. On the Triton-Class, the Wish, the Treasure, and the Destiny, you have the Walt Disney Theater, which also has a balcony, and 2 cinemas, the Wonderland Cinema and the Neverland Cinema. I think this is order of age as well. Newer ships are top, I believe.
Yeah, the only reason I'm going to agree with you is because I love you. No, the reason I'm going to agree with you is I think having 2 theaters is great. I actually prefer the Walt Disney main theater on the Dream and the Fantasy more than I prefer that or enjoy that on the Wish, simply because the seats are bigger. The seats in the Walt Disney Theater
Wider.
Exactly. On the older ships, on the Magic and the Dream, are the most comfortable for us bigger people.
Yes.
And they get less and less comfortable as the ships get newer and newer. Disney has figured out in their theme park rides that Americans are big and designs their rides accordingly, unlike Universal. Now, they don't seem to have transitioned that knowledge over to the cruise line because they keep shrinking these seats, and I don't really appreciate it. However, having multiple theaters to do movies, it may not be what we love doing, but like the theming and everything of those spaces is pretty great. And, we just had Michaela on not too long ago. There's a healthy amount of people who love going to see these movies, and kids especially want to go see these movies. And so having two theaters that they can put movies through at any one point in time is fantastic.
Also, the technology is better on the newer ships too.
Very much.
Main stage shows. Oof, this is going to be a rough one, I think.
This is going to be fun.
Okay, so on the original ships, the Magic Class, we have Tangled the Musical and Twice Charmed, which is a Cinderella twist, and Disney Dreams on the Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Disney Wonder has Frozen, a musical spectacular, The Golden Mickeys, and Disney Dreams.
Yes.
For the Dream Class, we have on the Dream, Beauty and the Beast and the Golden Mickeys and Disney's Believe. And on the Fantasy, there is Frozen, a musical spectacular, Disney's Aladdin, a musical spectacular, and Disney's Believe. And on the Wish, we have The Little Mermaid, Disney's Aladdin, and Disney Seas the Adventure. For the Treasure, we have Moana coming up and TBD.
And I'm sure they'll also have Seas the Adventure on there as well.
Yeah.
So, I am not a fan of the Aladdin show at all. We've been over that several times. It has to do with the masks that most of the ensemble wears during the scene of the Cave of Wonders, and I don't find them. Yeah, the genie masks. I don't find those to be very appealing. They're kind of nightmare fuel. So no, thank you. The other shows, we are a sucker for the Golden Mickeys. Mm-hmm. We haven't seen Tangled. We haven't seen Twice Charmed because we haven't been on the Magic in forever.
For me, I'm going to go with the Dream Class on this one.
Yeah. I mean, Beauty and the Beast was fantastic. Yes. The Golden Mickeys, that's our pull our heartstrings nostalgia from, because that was I think the first show we saw whenever we were on the Magic back in 2009. The Frozen adaptation is pretty good. Mm-hmm. Other than that one scene, Aladdin's actually pretty decent. The Disney's Believe, it's a show. It's not bad. Yeah. I'm going to agree with you. So if we're going to give top points to the Dream Class here, who's next?
I think the Triton-Class is next.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little Mermaid was great.
Yeah, that's true. It was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to put a disclaimer here because we haven't been on the Magic in so long that we just haven't seen Tangled and we haven't seen Twice Charmed. We will see that show here in 18 months or so when we're on the Magic in November of 2025. Mm-hmm. Math, sorry. So yeah, we'll get there, but. Yeah, for right now, that's our ranking. We're going to put Dream Class, then Triton Class, then Magic. Let's move on to the main nightclub or lounge, kind of where that main space that is used for those nightly shows happens. Mm-hmm. We have Azure and Fathoms on the Wonder and the Magic. On the Dream, we have Evolution, and it's the Tube on the Fantasy. And then we have Luna on the Wish, and it will be Sarabi on the Treasure. For me, for what it's worth, this goes in the other order. I'm going to put the oldest one first. I'm going to put Fathoms and Azure, whatever. Sorry, we work at Microsoft. It's Azure here. We're going to put that one at the top. I think in general, the Magic and Wonder just give more room and more space to these spaces. And we'll talk about some of this too, like the pubs, like these lounges, they're just bigger spaces than they are, ironically, on the bigger ships. Now, Luna is pretty big on the Triton-Class, on the Wish and the other ones, but
it's open.
It's open up
top.
Like I don't like that at all. It is not isolated from what's going on. You have kids hanging out during match or mate in the hallways. Sorry, not going to do it. So we're going to do, in the lead for our stack rank is going to be the Magic class. Then comes the Dream class, and finally the newest ships on the Triton class. Speaking of the pub, that's what we're going to talk about next. On the Magic class, we have O'Gills and the Crown and Fin. On the Dream class, we have Pub 687 on the Dream and O'Gills again on the Fantasy. And then we have Keg and Compass on the Wish, and it will be Periscope Club on the Treasure. I'm going to actually do the exact same thing as I did for the clubs and the Night State.
No, I disagree. I think O'Gills and Crown and Fin definitely first place.
Yeah.
But I like the Keg and Compass over the Pub 687 and the O'Gills pub.
Oh, it does have better theming and
better theming. It's maybe a little bit bigger.
It's comparable. I mean, the pub on the Magic and Wonder is fantastic. It's huge.
Yeah.
If you need to have someplace to go sit and chill or do board games or whatever, there's going to be a booth open for you during the day. It's absolutely phenomenal. You don't have that on the newer ships.
No. For feature bars, there's quite a bit of them. Mm-hmm. Magic, we have Keys, Soul Cat Cafe, and Wonder has Cadillac Lounge and French Quarter.
Mm-hmm.
For the Dream class, there's the Skyline, which is on both ships. The Wine and Champagne bar is called Pink on the Dream and Ooh La La on the Fantasy. There's also Meridian and Bon Voyage. For the Triton class, on the Wish, you have Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge. On the Treasure, that will be a Haunted Mansion theme. Woohoo. The Wish has Nightingales, which is Cinderella themed. The Treasure is Scat Cat, which is Aristocat themed.
Yeah.
Wish has the Bayou, Princess and the Frog theme. And Treasure has Skipper Society, which is Jungle Cruise theme.
Yeah.
There's also the Rose and Hook's Barbary for bar spaces.
There's a lot. Now, I will say, in general, I don't like the size of these spaces on the newer Triton class on the Wish. They're just too small.
They're too small and they're too spread out.
Exactly. But
however,
they're themed really well.
Yes.
The diversity of what's going on, I love. Their
specialty drinks are really good too.
Yes. I love having the signature bar that's going to be up by adult dining. Mm-hmm. You know, that's the Rose or Meridian. Unfortunately, the smaller ships don't have that. That's just an omission. I mean, well, it's not an omission. They just didn't have the room.
No.
Oh man, I love Hook's Barbary.
For me, Triton class has this, followed by Dream class, followed by Magic class.
And I think this is where it would be different if you wanted to talk about individual spaces.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at this as a package, there's just more variety and a deeper level of detail that they've done in these Triton class spaces. Again, I will still lament they're too small. We don't need to have Nightingales just be crammed into a corner. Meanwhile, you have 6 luxury shops there that have enough room for like a sitting chair with nothing within 10 or 15 feet of it on either side. Like it's just insane. But anyhow, I'll get off that soapbox. All right, so just to refresh, that is the Triton coming in on the top, the Dream Class, and then the Magic Class rounding us out. Looking at coffee bars, we have Cove Cafe, and that's it on the Magic and the Wonder. On the Dream Class, we have Cove Cafe and Vista Cafe. And then on the Triton Class, we have all sorts of options. The Wish has Enchanted Sword and Wishing Star and a Cove Cafe all the way out in the back. And then the Treasure is going to have the Jade Cricket and Hey Hey Cafes. And again, with the Cove Cafe, almost as a forgotten thing, way at the end of the ship. That's tough to get to, but I'm sorry, we're not talking about the ship design as a whole. I digress.
Now, neither of us drink coffee.
True.
So
for the portion of people who do, it's very important to get a coffee.
yes.
I kind of have to just vote with the numbers here. There's just more places to get a good coffee on the Triton Class than there are on the other classes. Like
There are more places. It's only by one. And the Cove Cafe, if it's raining, you can't get to it.
That's fair.
I'm actually going to go with Dream Class on this one.
Okay. I like it. And then are we going to put the Triton Class in the middle and then the Magic and Wonder at the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like where these numbers are trending.
Well,
Yeah, I know. Doesn't mean they're not our favorite ships.
no.
It just means that, yeah, there's a reason Disney's doing what they're doing on their newer designs.
Yeah.
All right, but that is me looking ahead at the total row on our spreadsheet counter. Okay, anyhow, moving on. Let's talk adult spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that the older ships have these dedicated neighborhoods where most of these things live.
Yeah.
You know, you have the district, or you have whatever it's going to be called. On the Dream Class, you have the same kind of thing up front on the Magic Class, and then on the Triton Class, all these adult spaces are just scattered all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Quiet Cove is a dedicated adult pool on the Magic and Wonder, is a fantastic space with its own bar on the Dream and the Fantasy. Is this, oh yeah, I forgot we should do that, and we'll put it at the very back of the ship, and there's no way to get there that's not in the sun or in the rain, along with the Quiet Cove pool and a little bar there too on the Triton class ships. Like, I don't like how the arrangement of all these spaces is done so scattershot across the ship on the Triton class. I'm going to put that one at the bottom. Do you agree?
I agree. And I do want to say, I believe that they put the Quiet Cove area where they did on the Triton class because on both the Magic class and the Dream class, you have kids walking through those areas to get to staterooms.
Yep.
And you do not have that issue at all on the Triton class.
I agree. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have it isolated.
Yeah.
I am saying it's a bad thing to have it where you can only get there one way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a long walk off the back of the ship. I know that kind of sounds ironic. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not a fan. All right. So now we get to do Magic class versus Dream class on, these neighborhoods and the adult spaces and the pools and stuff. What are you thinking?
So Dream class has Satellite Falls, which we didn't talk about at all.
True.
So there is an additional adult only area, and that one is kind of like kids don't go through there.
Correct.
Because it is on the
It's on top.
back. Yeah, it's on the very top. I don't
It's
know.
on front. It's up front, yeah.
This is hard. I think overall, I'd still go Magic class with this
Yeah.
because I'm thinking of the time that we spend when we're on the Wonder. We hang out in the pub a lot. It's a large area, and you can just chill there.
Mm-hmm.
And the Quiet Cove area is still large enough to relax and not worry about things.
Yep. I love it. I completely agree. All right. Magic class, Dream class, Triton class. We have it. Next up, we have the spa and rainforest room.
Okay.
So I think this just goes in order.
Yeah.
I mean, the spa keeps getting bigger and more grand, and the rainforest room, same thing, keeps getting bigger and more grand as we go on. It's 1, 2, and 3. It's Magic Class, Dream Class, Triton Class takes top honors. Concierge, I'm going to actually say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
The concierge concept did exist originally on the Magic and the Wonder, but there was no lounge. They retrofitted in a concierge lounge during one of the dry docks that the Magic and Wonder had after the Dream and the Fantasy came out. And it's nice to have a space, but it is just shoehorned in. Concierge rooms are spread out all over the ship, and so there's not that benefit of having kind of a concierge neighborhood that's near the lounge where everything is just easy access for folks like you have on the Dream Class or the Triton Class. So unfortunately, we're going to put the Magic Class down at the bottom. The Dream Class, you do get that lounge. It's fantastic. You have a sun deck up top. These rooms are great. The lounge is fantastic, but it's an inside lounge. You don't have any windows there. You go up onto the sun deck and you're surrounded by walls because it's in the middle of the top of the ship. You have satellite falls up there, and so they had to isolate it, make sure people or give an opportunity rather for people to not just be staring at those people who are behind a fence or whatever in concierge. And so you have a view of the sky, and there's a lot of shade and great lounges. And I think there's a hot tub up there on the Fantasy and the Dream, but you're not seeing outside. You're not seeing the water. You're not seeing where you're going. The Triton Class concierge experience is phenomenal.
But there are a lot more concierge rooms.
There's twice as many concierge rooms. There are. So that said, it still doesn't feel crowded. It doesn't feel cramped, right? And you have a concierge lounge that opens up and has a view forward. It has outside seating on that main level. And then you go up top and you actually do have the front of the ship. You can see what's going on. You have its own dedicated bar upstairs. They did it right. The concierge experience on the Triton Class is absolutely fantastic. All right. We're getting towards the end. Next up, sports and activities. On the smaller ships, Magic and Wonder, we have the Wide World of Sports on deck area, which has a kind of a half basketball court. I think there's some ping pong tables up there if you want to try to play ping pong in the wind. Good luck. There is a running track on deck 4. It goes all the way around the ship.
Way around.
Amazing. Not that we are running on a ship, but
I've done the walking track before.
Exactly. There's shuffleboard off on deck 4, and of course there's a fitness center. Looking at the Dream Class, we have Goofy's sports deck that has a whole mini golf course, a 9-hole mini golf course. It has basketball as well. There's virtual sports simulators for basketball, football, hockey, golf, soccer, baseball. Again, you have a running track that goes all the way around the ship on deck 4. There's shuffleboard down there. You have a fitness center that's really, really good. Lots of equipment there for folks to use. And when it comes to activities, something that's unique, and again, we're going to ignore all the trivias and things because that's kind of consistent in terms of programming across all the ships. But on the Dream and Fantasy, you have the Midship Detective Agency, which has art come to life and you solve all sorts of puzzles and whatnot across the ship.
Interactive mystery whodunit.
There you go. That's the words that were trying to fall out of my face. Lastly, on the Triton Class, we have the Hero Zone. This is an indoor game area. You have the Incredigames, which is an inflatable course. You have a basketball court. You can play soccer. There's table tennis there. There's air hockey. There's foosball. There's shuffleboard. There's this whole hideaway thing, which is a separate kind of Gen Z geared zone and kind of hangout. Again, there's a huge fitness center. And you have an in-app game called Uncharted Adventure that lets you do all sorts of things around the ship, kind of similar to the Midship Detective Agency, but a lot more technology savvy. And at least at the time that I tried it, it didn't work. But that was super easy and they had a lot of teething problems.
but no one deck running track on the Triton.
That's true. Notice what was not on the list.
Yeah.
There is not a track that goes around the ship. There is, in theory, a way for you to circumnavigate the ship. It does involve stairs.
Yeah.
And it does involve spaces that at some times, or more often than not, depending on who you ask and what their experiences have been, some of it's just roped off or locked behind a door that you can't get through and circumnavigate. So from a marathon training perspective, the Wish and Treasure and Destiny are not the ships you want to be on if you need to get running in that's not on a treadmill in the absolutely fantastic fitness center. So I think let's put... oh man! All right, I almost said like just because of that reason we're going to put this at the bottom.
I don't think we can do that. It's not going to be at the bottom.
No, I honestly think the Magic and Wonder are at the bottom because there's
just not as much.
I mean, it's a smaller ship. I mean, it's physics. Like there's just not as much room.
Yeah, and it's difficult because with the Hero Zone, if there's inclement weather going on, you can still take part in any of that stuff.
Yes,
but on the Dream Class, if it's super windy or rainy, you aren't going to want to play basketball or mini golf out there.
Right. Now, they do have a bunch of sports simulators on the Dream and the Fantasy, and that's pretty cool, but that is an upcharge. Everything else that we've been talking about here is included. I almost said free, but let's face it, this is Disney Cruise Line.
It's included.
Nothing's free. I think we give this one to the Triton-Class, and I think we slot the Dream and the Fantasy there in the middle.
Does the Triton-Class have shuffleboard?
It does. It's in the Hero Zone area.
Oh.
I do believe.
Yes, I see that now. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. I feel like that should be a deck activity.
They may have it somewhere on deck.
Yeah.
I don't.
We haven't done it on any of them. So.
Yeah, I'm just going off of what I could get on the website, and it had shuffleboard listed under the Hero Zone.
Laundry.
Yeah, our favorite thing to do.
Self-service laundry. Yeah.
Self-service laundry.
All right, because I think we've done laundry on almost every cruise.
Yeah, we have. I think you're right.
Yeah. On the Magic Class, there's a laundry room on decks 2, 6, and 7. On the Dream Class, oh my gosh, this is a lot. There's one on decks 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And on the Triton Class, they have one laundry area called Fairy Tale Fresh Laundry on deck 8. And this thing is humongous.
Huge. So even though there's just one deck, there's a lot more.
Yes.
I would probably say there's just as many machines, if not more, on the Triton Class ships as there is in the Fantasy.
Yeah, this was a good move on their part, and that's why this is getting ranked number 1 for sure.
100%. 100%. Are we just going by size here? We're going to put...
I think so.
Yeah.
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 Now, on the Magic and the Dream Class, those laundry rooms are always full.
They're always full, and they're pretty small.
Yeah.
And I would, if you can, if you're not trying to pinch pennies, do yourself a favor. If you do need to do laundry on vacation, just send it out. It's going to be more expensive, yes. But
have Disney do it for you if you're
Disney,
okay with them handling your unmentionables.
Yeah, exactly. They've seen it all before.
Yes.
You're on vacation. Just pay somebody to do it. Okay. The totals. Our score. I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
I'm not surprised, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not surprised with the results. You're not surprised that I don't like it, and you're not surprised
I'm not surprised
at the results.
on the scores, on the results, because we're basing off of what the ship has available, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff is our preferences, but it's not the overall feel of it.
Right.
It's going individually.
Right. This isn't the total package vibes. This is nitpicking and getting into the weeds.
Yeah.
All right. So the minimum score on our rankings here, if a class of ship had only gotten 1 point out of a possible 3 for all of these categories, would be 22, again, for that lowest possible score. The highest possible score is a 66. And so with that, the Magic Class, the OG, that's in last place.
Bronze.
It's bronze. Okay, bronze. Fair enough. I like that much better. The Magic and Wonder come in with 35 points out of a possible 66. In silver medal position, we have the Dream
Class
and the Fantasy coming in with 46 points out of 66. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, our gold medal position is the Triton-Class, the Wish, the Treasure, the Destiny, with a score of 51 out of possible 66. Ta-da! The Triton-Class is our winner, and thereby shall always be known as the best? Question mark? I don't know if I agree with that.
What's a 77? Is that a C?
Sure.
They got a C.
They got a C. Hey, C's get degrees.
C's.
So yeah, it's this is what it is. Take it or leave it. I think this was kind of a fun way for us to compare all of the classes of ships. I hope that y'all got something out of this. If you're interested in seeing the rankings, if you're interested in kind of seeing this table that we put together that details everything that we are comparing and trying to like look at, like what is the on deck food options in all of these classes and everything else, I put a table together. I will, you know what? You can email us, podcast@ourmousecapades.com. I'll be happy to share this with you. I may see if I can throw this up on our website or something like that. I'll see what I can do.
You can make a pretty PowerPoint.
Yeah, it's going to be a PDF and
Okay,
something
whatever.
in a, yeah. Anywho, I hope you all at least found this entertaining and helpful as you're trying to choose between Disney ships and which ones you may or may not want to be on.
Well, I'll say my favorite ship, Nathan, I know it's your favorite ship too, is the Disney Wonder.
Yep.
My second is the Wish. Your second, Nathan.
My second is the Dream.
Yep.
And it's okay.
I can pretty much guarantee that the Treasure is going to be my second when it comes out, though, just based on what is coming out on that ship.
The announced themes, the Haunted Mansion, the Jungle Cruise stuff, the Treasure is going to be up there, and it for sure is going to be ahead of the Wish, if only because the itineraries that it will sail are week-long cruises instead of 3s and 4s. Look, no matter what Disney ship you happen to be on, the longer the cruise is, the better off you'll be.
If you can swing it, we highly recommend that.
Absolutely.
With that, thank you for listening to our extended ramblings on the different classes of Disney ships and our thoughts on them.
We are not affiliated with Disney or their subsidiaries. These are our personal opinions and suggestions based on our own experiences. We recommend working with a travel agent or contacting Disney directly to plan your perfect vacation.
If you have any questions or suggestions, or if you'd like to be interviewed on our show to share your Disney experience, please send an email to us. We are podcast@ourmousecapades.com.
Go ahead and give us a follow on social media. You can find us at Our Mousecapades on Instagram and Facebook and Threads. And there's even some stuff that still gets automatically posted over to Twitter. And no, I'm not going to call it by its other name.
Please give us a rating and review in your podcast app. It helps people find us. And of course, don't hesitate to share us with your friends and fellow Disney lovers of all ages.
Thanks for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.